Eric DeCosta just spoke at the Combine. We learned a little bit more about the Justin Tucker investigation, Ronnie Stanley, Mark Andrews, free agency, the cap situation. Let's dive into everything he talked about in this episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So Eric DeCosta just finished talking at the Combine. He's Mr. Smokescreen, so you don't always get a ton of answers. You know, he definitely beats around the bush and doesn't want to give anybody too much information. But we did learn some things. Let's start with the Justin Tucker investigation. We didn't get any new information on this, but Eric DeCosta did confirm that the NFL is in Baltimore speaking with the women, and they are letting that play out. Eric DeCosta said they're aware of the concerning allegations, the amount of allegations, and they're just going to let the NFL do their job. They weren't aware of any of Justin Tucker's allegations prior to the Baltimore Banner doing the story, but they're letting the NFL investigate, and then they'll move forward from there. So not a ton of new information on that. I kind of figured that's what it was going to be, you know, let the NFL do their investigation, and we'll respond accordingly.
The allegations are serious, concerning. The amount of allegations are serious and concerning. I think we're fortunate that the league is doing an investigation. We'll wait as patiently as we can for as much information as we can, and we'll make our decisions based on that.
Now, we did get a little bit more information on the Ronnie Stanley decision, and I've been one, I'll just say it right now, saying that I didn't think Ronnie would be back. It's not that I don't want Ronnie back. I've said this a million times. I just, making a guess, thought that the team would go a cheaper direction since he's going to command so much. But Eric DeCosta said today that he's meeting with Ronnie's agent. He said, I don't want to say 100%, but I'm optimistic that we're going to get a deal done. They're meeting this week at the Combine. So we'll see how it plays out. There definitely seems like going to talk and try to get a deal done before Ronnie hits free agency.
Ronnie and I did a deal the last time, so that's great. He and I have a good friendship. We've known each other for a long time. He's got a great agent in Kim Miale. You know, never want to say 100%, but I feel good that we'll have a good, healthy debate, a good process. We're going to meet with Kim in Indy this week, and I'm optimistic that we'll be able to get a deal done.
And if that's how it plays out, then we're going to get a team-friendly type deal, because if we're not having to compete with the other offers in free agency, you get a better deal. And you can structure it maybe in the latter years if Ronnie does have any injuries or anything that you can maybe get out of it. It's not fully guaranteed or majority of it guaranteed, so you can get out of it in a year or two. I would imagine it'd be structured something like that, if a deal even gets done. I mean, just because Eric DeCosta said, I'm optimistic that we get something done, doesn't mean that a deal's getting done. He said, we're going to have a healthy debate this week at the Combine, and I'm optimistic that something will get done. But being optimistic is just having a positive mentality. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that the deal's 100% getting done. But hearing him say that, it does seem like they are definitely interested in bringing Ronnie back. I am more optimistic that Ronnie does have a chance of returning than I was, you know, even yesterday or last week. I definitely was in the camp of like, okay, we're just not going to pay Ronnie $20 million a year and invest in him as an older player who's had a ton of injuries outside of last year. But it definitely seems like they are trying to get a deal done. There was a question about moving Roger to left tackle, and Eric didn't shy away from it. He just said that's a coaching decision, and he said Roger can definitely play left tackle, and they have confidence that he can play there as well. So he didn't shoot it down, but we knew that. I mean, Roger's a natural left tackle.
We think Roger had a great year last year. He's a very good athlete. He's way mature than a typical young player. I think he proved that this year with how he played and competed week in, week out, whether it was on-field performance against good players coming back from injuries and things like that. So he's definitely a factor on the left side if need be. I think we'll try to find the best five guys we can. I think there were a lot of questions about the offensive line last year, and I think we did a pretty good job of putting a pretty competitive offensive line together on the field last year. And I would expect the same to hold true this year.
So Eric and the coaches having confidence that he can play left tackle makes perfect sense. He's played left tackle his entire life. He's out of position at right tackle. So they do know that he can play both sides, but I really think they are trying to get a Ronnie deal done, at least a short-term one, probably not a lot of guaranteed money in that deal. And I'm cool with it, man. Like I said, let's beef up the O-line. I love Ronnie Stanley. I am cool with it. I just thought that he was going to be too much. I mean, Eric talked a lot about how we have zero cap room and we're couch hunting for change because we have no cap room. But he's probably being dramatic. We obviously can restructure deals and create cap room. Or we could create cap room by trading Mark Andrews, which, reading between the lines, did seem like that might be the direction. Eric DeCosta was asked about the option of trading Mark Andrews, and Eric just got real complimentary of him. Mark's an all-time player. We love Mark. He's a future Ring of Honor player. You know, Eric was just gushing over Mark, but didn't really even answer the question and said that over the next few weeks, you'll see all the roster moves.
Mark is a great player. We're blessed to have 3 really good tight ends under contract this year. They all contribute in different ways. Their chemistry, their camaraderie, their impact on the offense, the relationship with the other skill guys is great. I mean, Mark's going to go down as one of our great players. He'll be in the Ring of Honor someday. I love having Mark on the team. He's an awesome player. I know he's going to have an amazing season. We'll figure out all the roster machinations over the coming weeks, but I can tell you there's no bigger fan of Mark Andrews than me. And he's been a blessing to have on the team. His leadership, the way he approaches the game, his attention to detail. He's just one of those guys.
So reading between the lines, I think there's a decent chance they might move on from Mark Andrews. That does clear a lot of money that we need, so I would not be shocked. I don't think the return is going to be very big, but this would be a good time if you are planning on trading him and you do have some offers, you know, at least something that you can entertain, and you clear the cap on the back end. I mean, it does make sense. The move does make sense, even though I do still love Mark. I wouldn't mind Mark being here, but not under that cap hit. We've been saying that all offseason. So we'll see how all that plays out. Free agency is only a few weeks away, so you're going to see a lot of these moves made in the next few weeks. Eric DeCosta even said that. He's like, just watch the roster moves unfold over the next few weeks. Mark Andrews included, Ronnie Stanley included. So major decisions are about to be made. And just reading between the lines, it seems like they're going to try and bring Ronnie back. We'll see if the numbers work out. And I think they might be moving on from Mark Andrews. But who knows? Like I said, Eric DeCosta is Mr. Smokescreen, man. He's not going to go up there and tell you anything that you want to hear. He's not going to provide any information. John Harbaugh is talking to the media later today. You're just not going to get a lot of answers. You got to watch it and kind of read between the lines. If you know a lot about the team, you can kind of make a little bit more sense of it. But he's not giving you any concrete information. Eric DeCosta said in an interview a few weeks ago, if you know what we're doing, it's wrong. You know what I mean? If you're hearing or think that you know what we're doing, it's the opposite of that. We're trying to make sure that you know nothing. So this could definitely be that. You know, it definitely could be that. He also spoke about free agency, said they're only going after vet minimum guys. They have no money. They're not going to make any big splashes in free agency, and that they are just going to attack the draft with their 11 picks. He talked about keeping those 11 picks. He said that there's a bunch of guards in the first 2 rounds that can come in day one and start, which is great news for us. So I think there's a lot of options.
I mean, you guys know the Ravens. I mean, you know, right player, right price. You know, we don't have a lot of cap room. We have Nick Matteo working tirelessly to find some space for us. We call it couch cushion coins, you know, like we're trying to find 50 grand here, 75 grand there in a couch cushion. But, you know, we're not a team that's going to make a lot of big splashes, generally speaking. I mean, we're probably going to have 11 draft picks this year. My goal would be to hit on a large percentage of those draft picks, to find good, young, inexpensive talent, to put guys in for the future. Because the reality of it is, when you're paying guys like Lamar Jackson and the Marlon Humphreys and the Nnamdi Matabikes and the Roquan Smiths and guys like that, and the guys like someday probably Tyler Linderbaum and guys like Kyle Hamilton, you've got to draft well every single year so that you always have an open window.
And I do think we're going to attack mainly through the draft. I don't think that's a surprise at all. You got 11 draft picks. You don't have a lot of cap room. you got to go draft and hit on some major guys. You know, that's how you're going to really keep churning out a competitive roster. But I do think it is a little bit of a smokescreen that he's like, oh, we're just going to go after vet minimum guys. We're couch hunting for pennies. Like, we're not going to make any big splashes in free agency. He was just a little too like forward about that I feel like that's one of those smokescreens. Not that we're about to go out and spend a bunch of money and make a huge splash on day one of free agency, but I think we'll do a little bit more than just get a couple vet minimums. You know, I really think he's underselling it a lot, acting like we're not going to make any moves, and over these next few weeks, we're going to clear some money. We're going to make moves. We're going to have enough money to bring a Ronnie back if we want, or if it makes sense, and also maybe go get a free agent, not a top dollar free agent, but not just vet minimums months from now. I think he's underselling it. I think he definitely was up there trying to play some more smoke screens outside of the Tucker thing. He was forward about the Tucker thing, or at least as much as he could be. But I think the rest of it, he's definitely beating around the bush. You're not getting a lot of concrete information. But just from his energy and what he was saying, I feel like he may be thinking about moving on from Mark, and I do think that they'll be talking to Ronnie. I don't know if it's as surefire of a thing as he made it sound, but it definitely could be. We definitely could be bringing Ronnie back. It would be smart to lock him up before free agency starts, because once free agency starts, that price is going up for everybody. So it would be smart to structure a lower risk deal and a cheaper deal that I think you could probably strike this week at the combine that you're not going to be able to get once Ronnie hits free agency and teams are tossing 20 plus million at him. So that's what I took from Eric DeCosta talking today. Definitely a few little tidbits, not a lot of concrete information. You don't know what exactly is a smokescreen, what he's trying to get you to believe. So I'm always kind of on edge and, being aware that he is definitely trying to play some games. But I did think that we got more information on Ronnie, Mark Andrews, Justin Tucker, free agency a little bit. Take it for what you want. But let me know what you guys are thinking. What did you take from this press conference? What do you think we're going to do? Are we definitely bringing back Ronnie now? Is Mark Andrews potentially on the way out? Let me know what you guys are thinking. Appreciate you, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense. Can't